problems to do change, you can do change even if you're successful and there are no indicators. Right. Number 3, you must focus on one of the issues and don't try to change everything at the same time. If you agree, raise your hand. If you agree, raise your hand. Okay. Those who raised their hands get 0. Those who didn't get a point. No, that is wrong. It is proven today that if you want to do real change, you cannot change part of the organization because it is all linked. It is a full system. So if you try to change one part and not the others, it will fail because it's affected by the other parts. So when you plan change, and whatever needs to be changed everywhere to make the change work. Right. Number 4. Number 4 is
step
okay.
by step.
Number 4 is step by step. It's better than doing it quickly. Now, quickly in organizations is not overnight. When we do change, say in 3 to 5 months, that is very quick. So don't think quickly in individuals, 3 to 5 days. But in organizations, you're talking quick, meaning 3 to 5 months. So step by step, we're talking 3 to 5 years. So now if the question is clear, you can change your answer if you want. Now, who said this is correct? Anyone? That step by step is better than rapid and quick. Anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, yalla, 5. Now more hands are coming. Okay, if you raise your hand, you get the 0. No. It is proven that quick change is better than step by step. Why? Because step by step will give the resistance a chance. While if you do it quickly, they have no chance to plan, to resist. So you plan, listen, you do your plan step by step. Don't rush the plan. But when you implement change, you do it very quickly. Don't give them a chance to resist. Right. Number 5, a key mistake, any key mistake in any part of the change process will affect the whole process. Is this correct? If you think this is correct, raise your hand. If you raise your hands, you get a point. Yes. Change process is linked. You cannot avoid it. If you make a mistake in any part, then the whole process will collapse. Or you have to restart all over. Right, number 6. Number 6, even the most efficient managers will make everyone will make mistakes, but we're talking about disastrous, killing mistakes. Now, we're talking about a very effective manager or leader. They still can make major mistakes. If you agree, raise your hands. Yes, that is correct. So, what does it mean? No matter how great the leader is, you don't let him decide on his own. He must have shura. Otherwise, he can make major mistakes, killing mistakes. Right. Number 7, organizational change is the same as strategic planning. If you think about it deeply, it's the same thing. If you agree, raise your hand. No, brothers, it's not the same. So if you raise your hand, you get a 0. The difference between strategic planning in general and change, yes, they include the same things. Studying the present situation, putting the vision, putting the plan. But change process studies deeply the resistance and how to overcome the resistance, while strategic planning doesn't go deep into that. So the difference really is in studying the resistance. So if you want to do a real effective strategic plan, then you do it according to the change process, not only to the strategic processes. So all the systems of strategic planning have some elements of change or resistance, but not deep. So if you want to do it really in depth, you include the resistance. Yes.
Is there a difference between efficient and effective?
Yes. Because this is not the issue.
I mean, effective and efficient, is it interchangeable or?
No, effective and efficient are not the same. Efficient is doing things right. Effective is making sure that you are doing the right thing in the first place. Yeah. If I give you a process and you do it right, you're efficient. But the question is this process needed? Is there another process that is more important? That is effective. So efficient, you do whatever you do correctly. Effective is you choose the right thing to do. Right.
Question.
Yes.
Can you do the same process for organizational change with the process of effective strategic planning? Simple.
You can, but see, in that case, if you include resistance and how to overcome resistance, then you are really doing change more than strategic
So we
planning.
can use the process.
So, but what I do is I use the process of strategic planning, say FIFO or others. By the way, SWOT is a very bad system for strategic planning. Yeah? It's not good. It's good for operational planning. So I use FIFO, for example, in strategic planning, but I include the issues of resistance from change, and we'll talk about resistance in a minute. Right. Number what? 8. It is better to share results early. What the question is like this: we decided to do change, and we promised a brilliant and bright future for everyone. So our plan goes for, say, 10 years. In 10 years, we will reach a bright future. So we started, and things started to give results. Let's say about 2% in the right direction. Should I talk about it? Or should I wait until the results are huge? That is the question. So it says, it is the question number 8. It is better not to share results early if they are small. It is better to wait until bigger and tangible results are achieved. Who agrees with that? Anyone agrees with that? No. Yes, you get the point. If whatever results you get, but in the direction that you're going, you make an issue of it. You celebrate it. We have done this. We achieved this. Make people feel that we are moving in the right direction. So this is very important. Like, mashallah, you're very good. Number 9. Change by itself is an objective. So we should do it, and cost is not an issue, regardless of the cost. Who agrees with that? If you work for me, I will fire you. You don't care about cost? No. Whatever you do, you must make sure that you have done the right thing and make sure that you have taken cost into account. Write with me, or either on this test, because this is a summary of change, or in a different place, the major equation for change. The science of change really comes from this major equation. The equation says C equals A times B times D greater than X. So this is the major equation for change. What is it? C, percentage of success of change. So change, will it succeed? What are the chances that change plan will succeed? It depends on 3 factors. and it is a multiplication. It is not addition, it is multiplication, which means, so we go say by numbers. So I will explain them later on. But if A is 1, and B is 1, and D is 0.1, so what are the chances of C? 0.1. 1 times 1 times 0.1 is 0.1. So remember, it is not addition. So any part of it fails, it will affect the whole thing. So now we explain it. We go to the A. A is the percentage of pain or regret of the present. So we talked yesterday about the Arab revolutions. They showed you the numbers. People had a lot of pain. There is no work. In Tunisia, percentage of unemployment when the revolution happened was 34%. 34%. Graduates, no jobs. So a huge pain. Question, in the Gulf states, what is the percentage of pain among the people? Very low, very low. They're living comfortably, the government gives them money. Say in Kuwait, for example, last year they gave us they gave us food in rice and sugar and enough for 14 months for each family, free of charge. 2 years ago they gave us 2,000 dinars discount, which is $7,000 on electricity bills. And so on. So what is the percentage of pay? Very low. So no matter what you try to move people, your chances of change is very low because the pain is low. So which teaches you something else. If you want to succeed in pain and change, what you do? You increase pain.
Make it more painful.
Show people things that will make them feel painful. And that's, by the way, what we did before the Arab Revolution. So I went around, showed them the numbers of education, health, competence, competitiveness. People were frustrated. So it was intentional. I wanted them to have more pain, because you cannot succeed without that. So A is the percentage of pain. B is the percentage of clarity of the vision. Where are we going? What is the future? So suppose your opposition here wants to change the situation in Malaysia. The pain must be increased. People have to show them what makes them feel pain. And then you promise them a future that is bright, but clear future. Specified future. You tell them, in education, in 2030, we will be number 5. In health, we will be in competitiveness. You give them numbers. You share a promise. Your income per family right now is this. We promise you in 10 years it will be this. The clearer this is, the chances of succeeding in change will be huge. D, percentage of clarity of the first steps. And we are talking here 18 months. What are you going to do in the first 18 months? If you have an answer, a clear answer, then your chances of success will be high. So let's go talk to Egypt. Egypt had a huge pain. Al-Ikhwan in Egypt presented a plan for the future, for another project. Very great. I have seen it, I've studied it. Great picture of the future, very clear, KPIs, etc. So A was high, B was high, but they did not have a specific plan for the first 18 months. So D was very low. So they did not succeed. So remember, this is the major equation.
Why 18?
18 months for large organizations. For medium organizations, it's 12 months. For small organizations, it's 6 months. Okay? So you must show results within that period of time. Otherwise, it is proven that people will give up, will lose hope in your plan. Finally, X is the cost. Any change will cost money, will cost, you lose people, feelings. There's a cost for change. So change itself must give us rewards higher than the cost. Even in money, it will repay higher than the cost. So the question here, you don't pay attention to cost. That is wrong. You must pay attention to cost. And your change will give us rewards higher than the cost. Otherwise, you don't do the change. Yes.
How do you define
Of course, I said money.
How do you define meaning? That's one.
So if we do the change, we will make profits. I must show that these profits are higher than the cost that we will spend on change.
I mean, the first three.
No, not the first. C is greater than X.
Oh,
C is greater than X. Not the whole thing.
three is the percentage, and then you compare it.
No, it's really two equations in one. Okay. Two equations. This is the first equation. The second equation is C greater than X. So we're not talking A, B, D greater than X. C is greater than X. Right. So I gave you a crash course on change management. Huh? Of course, this is one equation. I teach 7 equations. Okay? But to understand that this is science, huh? This is not something you think about and it's nice to do, stuff like that. There are laws to it. I'm summarizing these laws in this exercise. Right, quickly because of time. Which number now? 9. 10. Okay. You don't change the vision, the long-term vision. You change the plans, but you keep the vision intact. You don't touch it. Who agrees with that? If you raise your hand, you get 0. Even the vision can change with competition, with opportunities. So never think about the vision as fixed. That was the old view. The current view is very clear. Even the vision you can change. Right. Number what? 11. The best way to increase profits is to focus on reducing expenses. Who agrees with that?
Continuous.
11. Okay. Continuous change causes instability, and thus you should not do big changes every 6 months, for example. You must do it if you do one change, major change, you must wait 3 to 5 years to do another change. Who agrees with that? Anyone? Again, those who raise your hands, you get 0. No, you can do more than one change. Many people don't know this. Change causes what we call turbulence, which causes instability and bad feelings. But this doesn't last more than 2 to 3 months, except in the feelings. But in the actual effect, it doesn't affect work more than 2 to 3 months. I have done 6 major changes in one organization, 6 major changes in 3 years. And alhamdulillah, all of them were successful. So yeah, no, don't pay attention to this. Yes.
Sometimes big organizations, when they change, so sometimes what it came out with that, oh, it changed. Then after 1 year or 2 years, see, it's back to square one where we were before. So that was
Yeah, change
because
can
they
fail.
were-
Change can fail. So you do another change. But even if it is successful, you can do another change. So that is the question. Okay, number 12. We finished what? 11? We're done. Okay, 12. Best way is to decrease expenses. The best way is to decrease expenses. Anyone agrees with that? No, it is the worst way. The best way is to spend more. When you spend more, you open new markets, you increase the morality of your employees, because why do we spend more? You give them more benefits, you go to a new market, you improve marketing, you improve quality, and that's what gives you rewards, not decreasing profit costs. Right. Number 13, strategic vision and strategic objectives are the same. Who agrees with that? No, it's not the same. No. So if you raise your hand, 0. The difference is, really, if you went into the depth of it, strategic vision is the sum of strategic objectives. So a strategic objective usually is one part of the strategic vision. So if you have 6, 7 objectives, when you combine them, then you get your vision. Yes? Well, that's another question. Inshallah, I'll come back to that if I have time. Right. Number, which one? 40. First change that most people do is changing the structure, the people, and the authorities. That is true, but that's not the question. Add to the question that this is the best way. Suppose that you took over a company or a ministry, whatever. The first thing you should do, the best thing you should do, is change those who are around you. Who agrees with that? Raise your hand. You look to deputies, your assistants, and you fire some, you change some. Who agrees? This is the best thing you should do. The first thing you should do. Okay. Only 3, huh? 4, 5, 6, 7. No, don't do that. Don't do that. See, if you do that, you will increase the resistance. Listen, I'm giving you lessons of life. The first thing you do whenever you take over an organization, people are irritated, they are afraid. You will fire them, you will change them. The first thing you do is you assure them that you know the work more than I depend on you. You assure them. And then give them time. Because some of them might be really good. Later on, if you found out that they are not good, listen, look at me. If they are not good, you don't fire them together. Fire them one by one. Okay?
Slowly and silently.
Yeah, don't increase the resistance. So, by the way, the scholars almost agree that this was the biggest mistake of Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. When he took over the Khilafah, he fired all al-wula, leaders of the countries. There was a huge resistance to him. You don't do that. You take them one by one. He was not young. When he took over, he was 58. Right. Numbers 15? Okay, 15, yes. Of course, people understand change from the actions and sayings of the leaders. The question really is missing some words here. They look at this more than written papers. They look at this more than strategic plans that are written, information that is written, directions that are written. They look at the sayings and actions more than they look at the written things, which is true. The question is, this can be changed. we can change people so that they will change from the plans, not from the actions. If you think we can change people so they will not look at the actions and sayings, raise your hand. You think we can do that? No, we can't. You cannot do that. It can succeed with few people, but most people it will not succeed. So don't plan on it. Remember that your actions, our sayings and sayings are the most important. Right. Number 15 is correct. Number 16. Most employees look at their personal gain and they value it more than the organizational gain. The question is, this is true. That's not a question. The question is, we can train people, give them tarbiyah, not to do that. If you think we can, raise your hand. Brothers and sisters, you cannot. With most people, you can. You can do it with few people, but with most people, you cannot. It's proven, by the way, in science and proven in history with the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. If I have time, I would have given you the examples. 16, that if you can change that, no, you cannot change that. So it's wrong, yes. Number 17, change. Of course, there is a risk in change. And you risk not only, you are not going to change the negatives, you are risking also the positives. So the question is, if you are highly successful, say an organization that is making profits every year, 50%, 60%, 70% every year, for the last 10 years. The question is, in such organizations, you shouldn't do change. You should change only normal organizations or bad organizations, but highly successful organizations, you don't touch. Is this correct? No, it's not correct. Because you have a chance to be even better. I worked with a company in the United States that made 1,500% a year. 15, this is real. So why should you care about 60 if you can make 1,500? So even if you're successful, you don't eliminate change. Okay, number 18. Yes. Okay. Number 18. If you change all of these, the structures, the teams, the quality improvement, etc., all of this together, the question says, does not lead to fundamental change. Is that correct? If you agree, raise your hand. If you think this statement is correct. Only few, huh? Yes, it is correct. All of this together does not lead to fundamental change, temporary change, short-term change. So what leads to major change? We will come to that. Right. Number 19. Innovation or creativity is more important than improving the current position or the current situation. Who agrees with that? Raise your hand. Yes, this is correct. If you try, listen, brothers and sisters, if you try to fix problems, they will never be fixed. What you do is forget about the problems and introduce a new project. Then, even your current problems will be fixed. This is amazing. Really a strange idea, but it works. If you try, say you have problems with quality, service, etc., you try to fix them, you stay in that area, you don't move. What you do is introduce a new project. For example, if I'm in Malaysia, and Malaysia have problems, say, in roads and rush hour, etc., and they have a problem with corruption, etc. What I should do is not try to tackle all of these and make them my issue. What I should do is present a major project in changing education and direct everyone in that direction. While people are busy with that, looking for the future, I fix the other problem. But you don't stick to the small problems or the major problems. You never move. So introduce major ideas. Right. Number 20, if you change the leadership style or change the leader himself or herself, then you will drive major change in the negative or positive. Who agrees with that?
Yes.
Yes, of course. This is the easiest way to do change. Either change the number one person or change his or her mentality, which is difficult. So usually the best way is to change the number one person in any organization. That will drive change. Like, number what? 21. The biggest issue is that they try to change everything except themselves. Yes? Yes. So if they don't attend seminars and attend Daurah and get experience from leaders, they will not change. That is why Harvard have something called executive short seminars, which are 2 to 3 days. To attend that, it's $48,000 per person. Why? Who would attend such a seminar? Top management of the world. So they meet, and Harvard, they would lead the discussion so that they would learn from each other more than they would learn from Harvard. So that's how you do it. You try to change the number one people. Right. What? Number 22. Change is not easy and painful.
Yes.
Yes, of course, yes. Which means change is not for the faint-hearted. If you're weak in heart, you don't want to hurt feelings. You don't want to fire anyone. You cannot lead change. You cannot manage, as a matter of fact. If you are not able to fire, you cannot manage. Simple. They say there's a saying in Arabic: if you are not willing to kill, you cannot lead. Or govern, you cannot govern. Right. Number what? 23? Changing the beliefs is the biggest obstacle. Yes? Yes. So now a question to you. If that is true, how many Daurahs or seminars have you attended that would change your beliefs? Rarely, huh? Most of the world is giving you information or skills. So that's why training doesn't work, because they missed the biggest point. What is the whole thing about this exercise? It is all on beliefs, huh? I'm not giving you information. I'm not giving you a skill. I'm trying to look at the beliefs, either affirm them or change them. And that's what we're doing, question by question. So concentrate on changing the beliefs. Right. Number 24. If you do what made you successful, if you understand what made you successful in the past, you analyze, you say, okay, we have concentrated on marketing. You should continue the things that made you successful. Don't drop them, otherwise you lose. If you drop them, you will lose. Who agrees with that? No, of course wrong. MashaAllah. Of course wrong. There's a nice book if you want to write it in your references. The book is called What Got You Here Will Not Get You There. What got you here will not get you there. So what made you successful in the past will not make you successful in the future. You have to look at it. The author is Marshall Goldsmith. Marshall Goldsmith. Very nice gentleman. Wait. Number 25. Listen, number 25 is saying something very important. We have a great founder, a great leader that revived us or made us modern or made us successful. That person resigned or died. Now the second generation, let's take an example of a family business. So a person started that business from scratch. Many people were very poor, and they started the business, and they then became millionaires and billionaires. The question says, one of the reasons that lead to organizational failure is sticking to the same vision of the founders. Is that correct? Or is it the opposite? So if you think it's correct, raise your hands, please. And yes, this is correct. This leads to failure. The vision they put it at their time. When the situation had certain competition, certain values, etc. That have changed. 3 things lead to organizational failure, if you want to write them. 3 things, especially family business. Number 1 is this, sticking to the vision of the founders. Not daring to take another look at it. The second reason is the founder gave them the business, but did not give them the relations. So he did not pass the relations to them. So what you do if you have a company, you take your children, your son, etc., with you to major meetings, with investors, with officials, give them the relations. Many people don't do that, and that's the reason for failure. The number 3 reason, and this is science, huh? Number 3, and I'm sorry to say that, I apologize, but again, it is science, is the intervention of women. And this is science again. So a founder dies. In his life, he made all the decisions. Now when he dies, his children, men and women, will inherit. Now the ladies become owners. And because they are owners, they want to share in the decision. But they have not been trained. And by the way, this is even in the West. They train the males, the boys. Rarely they train their daughters. So now she owns, and she wants to decide, and she is not equipped or trained to do that. So she forces wrong decisions, especially if there are many of them, and the company collapses. Percentages of companies that collapse, fail, in the second generation, 64%. 64% in the second generation they fail. And these are the major 3 reasons. In the third generation, only 12% survive. 88% have been done already. So take care of these 3. Take another look at the vision. Make sure that you inherit the relationships, and make sure that you train the girls, not only the boys. Right? By the way, it's not a mistake of them. It is the mistake of their father who did not train them. Yes.
How is this point related to the Ikhwan Muslimin?
Same thing. Al-Ikhwan had a great founder, Hassan al-Banna. He made a vision. He made a... Again, I'm not talking about fikr. I'm talking about vision, plans, systems. He made a system, or say, tarbiyah through usra. That is not sacred. You take another look at it. Very simple. Let's take a look at usra. In the usra, you try to change the behavior, you give them knowledge, you try to make them understand politics and the situation, etc. So the usra does tarbiyah. The usra is a link with the leadership organizational, and the usra is a means to make them understand their role and their way and achieve the plans. It's a bad system. It's not a very good system, except in tarbiyah. But if I want to pass information, it is a very bad system. I can prove it to you. It is a bad system. There are better systems. Pass the information directly to them through internet, through social media, etc. Some people say, but it's not. I mean, it's not a secret anymore. Why do you need secrecy? Secrecy is bad. It kills you. So if you don't need secrecy, then work in the open, 100% in the open, which means that I will communicate directly with my members through my website, for example. Instead of telling somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, and this will distort the information. It is proven in each step of communication, you lose 25% of the information. So why should you do it this way? So in communication, it is bad. Even in giving knowledge, it is bad. Because their naqib or mentor doesn't know everything. So instead of asking him to teach them, say, tafsir or da'wah, let's bring a sheikh and collect all the usras and let them learn tafsir from the right source. It's better, huh? So that's how you relate it to Ikhwan. We keep the fikr, but we change the systems. Many people, unfortunately, look at the systems as sacred. Holy, sacred. Why? Why is it sacred? This is proven one of the reasons of failure. Right. Where are we? 26. Most failures are due to leaders. Yes or no? Yes, of course. Let's write down the 4 major reasons of failure. When you fail, whether in a company or in jama'ah or in politics, wallahi, my suggestion to you, don't do any study. Don't do any study. Why did you fail? It is 4 reasons. Either all of them or some of them, but only 4 reasons. Number 1, your training or tarbiyah is bad. Number 2, your plans is bad. I'm giving you the summary. Number 3, your systems are bad. Number 4, your leadership is bad. It's not suitable for the situation. Don't do a study. It will boil down to these 4. So don't waste your time, huh? When you fail, it is one of these 4 or all of them. And most of the time, it is number 4, leadership. Most of the time. You know how much? 70% of the time. It is the leadership. Unfortunately, leaders will blame tarbiyah. Do more tarbiyah. Brothers and sisters, who made the biggest problems to Ikhwan recently? Who? It is the leaders who split. Not the members, huh? It's the major leaders, Kamal Halbawi, etc. They created the biggest problems so far. So, now these are leaders. They don't have tarbiyah. So don't blame tarbiyah. Usually, members have no problem. It is leadership. So I gave you a summary. I have seen some brothers and sisters studying their failures for 1.5 years. Well, I have seen that. Why? It's boiled down to these 4. I gave you the answers. Now concentrate on fixing them. Wait. 27? 27. Effective change must consider the feelings of people. Yes?
Yeah.
Who agrees with that? Raise your hand. You must take care of feelings. Of course you have to take care of feelings, of course. You're dealing with humans. If you don't take care of feelings, you will create resistance. And resistance will kill change. So you must study how people will feel and react. And make it part of your plan. Right, number 28. The only effective change is changing people. Yes? Yes. No matter how much you change in your curriculums, in your systems, in your bylaws, it's temporary. You change people, especially leaders. That's how you create change. Okay, number 29. Okay, let me talk about homogeneous and non-homogeneous teams. Homogeneous team. Let's give an example. A group who wants to change an organization, jama'ah, company, etc. They are all men, all between 45 and 55, all Malaysians, all devoted Muslims. All of them have a background in social sciences. All of them has an experience of say 15 to 25 years. This is a very homogeneous group. Now, a non-homogeneous group is men and women, young and old, different backgrounds. Some of them Chinese, some of them Malaysians, some of them Americans or Arabs. This is a very non-homogeneous. So the question, after we understand that, is the non-homogeneous team can put forward a more effective change proposal than a homogeneous team. If you agree, raise your hands. Of course that is true. So write down, please. Homogeneous teams, this is a major law. Homogeneous teams are a must for implementation. Non-homogeneous teams are a must for planning and change. And by the way, also to pass laws or systems. So in general, a parliament that is non-homogeneous is excellent. A government that is non-homogeneous is bad. So the parliament should be non-homogeneous, while the government should be homogeneous. This is how you lead. You cannot create ideas and discussions and objections while you are implementing. You need a unified team. You do it in your planning, in your systems, in your change, in your laws. Like finally, older people. Let's write down the definition of older people. 65 and above. No, this is serious. Huh? 65 and above are called senior citizens. The question is, they are an obstacle to change, which means they will not stand neutral or support. They will act against change. Again, if you think that most of them stay neutral, then this is wrong. If you believe that most of them, and when we say most of them, we're talking more than 90%. If you believe that more than 90% of older people will resist change, raise your hands. Yes, of course. The percentage is 98%. 98%. They will not stay neutral. They will resist change. So now count your points out of 30. Yalla. Anyone, God forbid, has 30 out of 30? I mean, if they get 30 out of 30, they are dangerous. So anyone above 25? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Let me say something. Yesterday, in your decision making, which is the exercise of the hotel, and your teamwork, that's the exercise of the committees, in general, your performance was lousy. In this exercise, understanding change, you are the best group that I ever had. So you, in the theories, mashallah, you understand. So you really need to concentrate more on the skills. Skills, how do you implement? So in general, you had, I was watching hands, and you are the best ever that I have seen. I've done this exercise hundreds of times in different countries. You are the best group, mashallah. But it is also, yesterday I was frustrated. You were among the worst groups I had. So, in answering the teamwork and the decision making. So you really need to concentrate more on that. Look at your watches.